Okay, last session we discussed about working with the inheritance concept. So we learned about how to handle reusability. So by using two techniques, aggregation and with the help of inheritance. So we learned about two important aggregation and inheritance. Right. In inheritance, so we discussed about the point. So what is multiple inheritance? Multiple inheritance, and why multiple inheritance is not supported for classes. Multiple inheritance is not supported for classes. So technically, we discussed about what is inheritance, what is single inheritance, what is multiple inheritance, and why multiple inheritance is not supported for classes. As we discussed, multiple inheritance is not supported for classes because of constructor deadlock mechanism. So we have a conflict between the constructors of superclasses because here important thing you have observed is a derived class in TypeScript must have must call superclass constructor must call superclass constructor. So this is important. A derived class in TypeScript must call superclass constructor. So it is mandatory. If not, then it shows an error. That means you cannot call directly the derived class constructor without calling the superclass constructor. So that means you cannot call the derived class constructor without calling superclass constructor. This is the basic point about object-oriented programming. So due to this only, multiple inheritance is not supported. So in the last session, we discussed about single inheritance. We discussed about multiple inheritance. Another important is multi-level inheritance. multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. What is multi-level inheritance and how to deal with multi-level inheritance? This is another important part. Already we discussed about multi-level inheritance in the concept of interfaces. While working with interfaces, we discussed about that. So here, what is multi-level inheritance? Simple. It allows a derived class. It allows extensibility for derived class. It allows extensibility for derived class. Usually, base class is extended. So multi-level inheritance it allows extensibility for derived class. That means a derived class can be extended by another class. So it represents a multi-level hierarchy. It represents a multi-level hierarchy. So that is multi-level inheritance. Already we discussed this point when we learned about the concept of interfaces. In interfaces, we have seen how to handle this multi-level inheritance. So multi-level inheritance is the ability of extending a derived class. You can extend a derived class. So that we can do by using multi-level inheritance. So an example, suppose here, let's take an example here. I'm creating a new file, inheritance.ts. Okay. So here we are creating a class. And this is some class as some version 1. That is the class. This version 1 class is having some abilities, that means some properties and methods. Some properties and methods are defined here. So for example, so variables, or say, I will say as parameters. And I defined some string type and some value. So rest parameters like this. Just class. So version 2 is extending. So version 2 is extending version 1. That means version 2 can access the members of version 1. And functions. In functions, so it has some anonymous functions. Okay.